News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbreth with darkoakmedia.com.
And I'm Maximilian, wanting to wish you all a very happy and I suppose apropos Lumpy Rug Day.
Okay. Do you want to? Well, we'll get to the bottom of that shortly. But we've all suffered from that situation.
The 70s.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Lumpy Rug Day, and I'm sure that's international, right?
It knows no borders, although a lot of it comes from Persia.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of holidays on the table, actually. By the way, today's Free Comic Book Day. And Allan, you sound, folks, if you're listening, you notice Allan sounds a little different, don't you? Where are you, sir?
I sound a little distant, don't I?
Yeah.
Well, I am sitting out here at 522 Shelter Run Lane in Bartlett, Tennessee, for their annual vaccination and chipping event.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we're doing something a little different. Normally, we would both be out there, but we're trying this new divide and conquer approach. So, did you have to swim in, man? It was pretty rough heading in this morning. So,
well, happily, I had that submarine attachment for my truck.
Okay.
Yeah,
You had the periscope.
I think
and
the
everything.
truck had to snorkel in a little bit. But,
okay, cool.
However, I will say this, I am already seeing some white fluffy clouds and some blue sky, in spite of the fact that we were just sitting in a fire hose about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's just cleaning everything off, making it ready for the day. Okay, cool. So we're going to get more information about that as the program unfolds, and I hope we're going to have a special guest. Is that looking good? Because you never know.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right. So, but we're not going to tease it too much because we don't know for sure. So, all right. Well, let's set the table here. So, in lieu of a great moments in building history, we're actually going to visit with a very special guest over there. It's sometime shortly. We're keeping it open because we don't know. This guy moves in mysterious ways, and whenever Allan can snag him, we're gonna put him on the air.
It'll be a little after 9.
Okay.
I can tease that much.
Okay. Hey, real quick, why don't you just tell us about this event too? Because people might want to start. Maybe the plan is if you've got an animal, maybe the thing is get them ready, get in the car, keep listening to Tool Talk, but head in that direction. So why don't you go ahead and tease this up? So.
All right. Well, starting at 10 a.m. today, the Bartlett Animal Shelter and the Bartlett Pet People all get together and have what is just absolutely a massive event of vaccinations for your pet. And I believe this is the rabies vaccination and chipping. So if your little darling has you don't want it running off to get lost, you can have your animal chipped.
The chipping's pretty awesome, man, I have to say. Sometimes people are, we get a little miffed about modern technology and the invasive nature and stuff. But, I don't know, man. Chipping's a pretty handy thing, especially if you have one of these dogs or cats that likes to just run off into nowhere. At least you can track them down. So, but, okay.
On Nerding at 9... Friday, we actually discussed the 8-pound dachshund that survived in the wilds of Australia for 17 months.
There you go.
Because things happen. Pets get loose, they get lost, and when they do get found, you want your baby back.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so head on over to the Bartlett Animal Shelter. It's real pretty over there, too.
After 10.
After 10, and they have, although let's face it, we've seen people lining up there earlier than that, but still. And then they have a really cool dog park. You should bring your dogs over for that. So, all right, so that's what Allan's going to be doing. He's going to be chiming in on location, and I'm guessing shortly we're going to be hearing some barking in the background. That's sort of the way it goes over there. So, all right, well, here we go, Allan. So we've got in Allan's week in review, in fact, you worked with an interesting material. I don't know. I mean, it's probably not new to a lot of flooring people, but I don't do a lot of flooring, so it was new to me about it with the continuing drama of your tile bathroom. And also, we have a Critter Wars. We haven't had that for a while, but I posted a picture that you sent me of some just devastation done on a tree on one of your job sites that
Yeah. And you should see what they did to the soffits.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, I
my
wanna-
goodness gracious.
well, we have a call to action for that, so we're gonna get to Critter Wars probably sooner than later. We have a lot of things here. I want to get to our repurposing story that we teased about 3 weeks ago, but then things intervened and we didn't get to it. About basically pulling an iron gate from the trash and making it a really cool centerpiece and an example of repurposing. We have something cool about that. We also have a repurposing to do with a cypress table, which is a wood I've never worked with before. And also we have to announce the winner of our naming contest from last week's. We put the word out. We were trying to get a winner for the squirrel that really kind of went out with a bang from that electrical event at my house. So we have a lot coming at you today, folks, and we invite you to go to @ToolTalkRadio over on Facebook and check out the posts. But before we get to any of those things, now, Allan, I sent you a picture, but I mean, this is not rocket science here, but I sent you a picture of our must-have item of the week. So can you tell people what it is? Or
You did indeed, and I gotta tell you, it's one of my favorite items in the whole world. It is good old-fashioned black tape, vinyl electric tape.
Yeah, just a roll of electric tape. I mean, I think I have one of these. What I put on the Facebook page was I just said this should be in everybody's toolbox, junk drawer, and probably the trunk of your car. I mean, what is it? What are we talking here? $2? But there's something about electrical tape that, well, for one thing, I don't know about you, but if I'm ever doing any electrical work, you know how you said there's no logins over building? I don't like any wires exposed, even if they're behind the box or anything. So I carefully tape everything that I use. What about you, man? So it's like,
oh, absolutely. I'm just remembering back a few years ago, I had a new assistant, and they were being rather obstinate about accepting any help, and they were replacing a ballast on a medical light frame, and this one wire swung loose and swung over and touched something metal, and introduced my new assistant to the phrase arc welding.
Well, how about the idea of in terms of how you, in terms of arranging wires that are insulated by using Velcro strips rather than tape, because tape has that little adhesive thing. So the OCD part of me kind of likes the idea of using Velcro instead.
I'm confused. What do you mean Velcro?
Well, he's talking about the Velcro wraps for wire organization, but Max, I'm going to take you a step further, and because vinyl tape also comes in a pantheon of colors, that you can use 5 or 6. I actually have about 6 different colors in my toolbox, because I'm going to wrap wires together under one color.
Right. Yep.
So everything going to the front is going to have the red tape. Everything going to the back is going to have the green tape. And let me tell you, folks, you may not think that you're going to have to work behind yourself, but in the event you do, and you left yourself a trail of breadcrumbs like that, you will absolutely love yourself.
The bomb squad will thank you, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
And electrical tape has different properties. You know how we've always talked about, for example, duct tape or certain tapes. You use it outside, and 2 weeks later, you're going to have this gooey substance that you can't remove with a jackhammer. I mean, you know what I mean? It's some tapes that get dried out and brittle. But electrical tape generally seems to stay flexible much longer than any other tape. I will tell you, too, in a pinch, if I cut my hand or if I cut myself pretty bad, electrical tape I like, because if you wrap it right, you can even wash your hands later and it sort of sticks. So it's, in an emergency situation, it's not the worst, wound covery tape or something. But I've used this. I don't know about you. I've used electrical tape to in the field repair a broken sledgehammer handle thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in a situation where you just have to fix something. You don't have time to go to the store and buy a new one.
Well, as I am from South Texas, the strangest use I have ever had for good old-fashioned, inexpensive vinyl electrical tape, it's a great way of keeping an alligator's mouth shut.
There you go. Really? You've done that? And is PETA going to have something to say about this? Although,
Well,
I mean,
no, we
you
were
know.
trying to get him out of the pool, and when you get him, you get him contained, you don't want those jaws still flapping, so you tie him up real quick, and then you can transport him safely to the wildlife officer, and he can snip that tape off whenever he wants.
Now that you say that, I would think it's not the worst tape in the world, even if there was a creature that had fur, because the tape, it's not so sticky that it would rip the fur off or anything.
Well, it sticks to itself well.
There we go. Okay, well, there you go. There's no limit to what you can do with electrical tape. So, all right, you guys, well, strap in. This is going to be a really interesting day of Tool Talk Radio. When we come back, we have a Critter Wars.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And after that, I'm going to show you this log I found. It's got like 50 worms on it. I call it Worm Log.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
I mean, good branding is important, Max. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if Allan sounds a little different to you today, that's because he's on site. He is on a remote location. We're doing this whole divide and conquer situation this time. He's over at the Bartlett Animal Shelter for their annual vaccine and chipping festival. I don't know if it's a festival, Allan, but it sure is. Every year it's a big deal. I mean, we've been there for the last 3 or 4 years, and people show up, man. It's a great event.
It's a great social event. It's a great excuse to see everybody else's cute little fur babies and their wonderful pets. And it begins at 10 o'clock today, and it's at 5220 Shelter Run Lane in Bartlett, Tennessee. And this is the one day of the year the Bartlett Animal Center opens up to the general public, and you can have your dog or cat vaccinated for rabies and can be chipped.
Okay, perfect. And if all goes well, unless something is changed, it looks like we're going to be talking to Jay, the dog catcher, he's sort of a staple on Memphis Morning News, and he's going to be he's the man over there. He's going to be on the radio shortly. So stay tuned for that. He's always great. He's a former radio man. I learned that the other day listening. So
he is a man of an interesting past. I will give him that.
Good dude. He's doing great work over there. So, hey Max, before we get to our Critter Wars, I am sort of curious about this holiday. You said today is Lumpy Rug Day.
Well, it has many deep meanings behind it. It could be the literal smoothing out the lumps in your rug that form when the little strings kind of get bunched together, or it could have a metaphorical sense of not sweeping issues under the proverbial rug. And so either way...
I didn't think of that. So, if you sweep your problems under the rug, you create a lump that's ever-present and a constant reminder.
Exactly. But what I was more curious about was the random rug facts.
Well, I think all these have to be open for discussion, but go ahead.
For example, any rug that is larger than 40 square feet in size is considered a carpet.
So 4 by 10... is 40. So then, okay, boy, really? Because that's not very big in the big scheme of things.
I guess not.
Okay.
But what's interesting, too, is this leads me to, if we're talking about carpets, there's what the world's largest carpet is in Abu Dhabi, which is near Dubai, where you get the Burj Khalifa, and it's 60,546 square feet and has 2.2 billion hand-tied knots.
Really?
It was made by a carpet company in Iran, and it took 21 months to complete. And there are some critics that say, "Oh, it's not just one thing. I feel like I felt a seam." Well, it's actually because it's built very intentionally, not only in terms of its colorizing, it has green, which is a very popular color over there and symbolic color over there. But what's interesting is that the reason that there's these things that feel like a seam is because there's these little indentations or shavings in the carpet that weavers use to mark certain raised lines on the surface to help guide worshipers into the rows during prayers at a mosque.
Huh.
It's interesting.
So there's functional thing. Man, I can't even imagine build. I guess I just wonder how you clean that and what sort of things could be gathering underneath. Because how are you ever going to reach the middle of that? You can't like lift the carpet and shake it off or anything. So
I wonder if it helps that it's in a desert.
I don't know, man. Allan, I'm sure you have some. I mean, well, and Max, you said there's some hacks, some rug hacks that you wanted to put out there, right?
It involves some salt. It
What,
says
that's the one I want to run by Allan. So what is this?
it says a little sprinkle of salt before a good vacuuming can make a carpet brighter.
I don't get that at all. Do you understand that, Allan? Sprinkling salt on your rug and then vacuuming it up?
I think so. Being from near the ocean, I hate to say it.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm not near the ocean now. Generally, a little bit of salt does have a tendency to bring up colors.
Huh.
It's just a little chemical reaction with the sodium chloride. But the big thing is you don't want to leave that. You don't want to leave a residue behind. So you have to have a good vacuum.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, okay, I don't know. Tell me if this is the same thing, Allan. So when I work, basically, I usually wear a cap when I'm working in this, outside because I don't want to get sunburned on the old dome. You know what I mean? And so I usually, in the course of a summer, I'll probably go through a couple of hats because they get sweaty and things like that. But what I notice is there's this little, on the brim, you get this little white residue. And isn't that from the salt of your body sweating?
Yes.
Okay,
that is human salt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it seems like the rug, wouldn't that get the same thing? It starts bleeding over. Or somebody, I don't know. I mean, there's moisture everywhere. There's going to be moisture that winds up in your rug. It seems like, I don't know, Max. I don't know if I can get behind this salt hack. That sounds like trouble.
The salt hack is more like adding a vacuuming powder to your carpet, which was, if I recall, mostly like just baking soda. And what it is, you're trying to neutralize the things going on in the carpet anyway. But the real trick is you've got to have a really good vacuum to be able to get the particulate out of those fibers.
That's what it seems like.
Well, here's a hack for you. If you want your carpet to survive for 2,500 years, just freeze it and put it in Siberia because the oldest rug in the world actually comes from Siberia. It's possibly a Persian rug, but that was in Siberia, but it's called the Pazyryk rug, and it was preserved actually by a happy accident because there were raiders who were like stealing items from the Siberian prince's tomb, and they left the door open. And the rug that they left behind, because they didn't want to steal the rug, they just wanted the other items, it was well preserved because it was encased in ice. And so we have the oldest rug in the world because some thieves they didn't cover their tracks properly.
That's weird. I would have thought it would. See, that just goes to show. But I like the lumpy rug idea, though, Max. It never even occurred to me that it could be lumpy because you're sweeping things under the rug. And I'm just thinking of those parts where they pinch up and you trip on them and things like that. But keeping your rug smooth day would be almost a more appropriate name. But,
well, it's also that, too. But I'm also reminded of, like, the honey-do list.
Okay.
In terms of the lumpy rugs.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So Lumpy Rug Day is on the table. If you've got any cool rugs, this would be a good thing to send us. Send us to the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. That would be cool. But we're going to tee this up, and we'll unpack it when we come back. But let's shift gears.
That's the most foul, cruel, and bad-tempered rodent you ever set eyes on. I just wanted to hug.
Oh, rats in the kitchen, just like that delightful movie I taped in the theater.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been a pretty active few weeks of animal activity. Before we talk about Allan's animal encounter, let's just recap here and let's close the loop on my situation. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned to everybody that we found we had an electrical surge at my house that was really it was really just one of the most revolting sounds I've ever heard. It was like this prolonged sort of sound of like lightning, but it was quieter. There was a giant flash, and upon investigation, there was a huge scorch mark on a telephone pole outside my house, and the charred corpse of a squirrel below that had caused the whole thing. And we're not going to unpack that again. But Allan, we put a call to action out for a nickname for this noble creature that went out fighting.
I had Bernie for me or Sergio.
Well, we had a lot of names. Let's just say we had Bernie, Sparky, Flash, Crispy. Yeah, Sergio was pretty good.
Don't tell the winner, though, yet.
Blaze was good. And then Jules, which was a real inside baseball one. But, Max, you want to give the name of the winner because Jack is our winner.
Thank you, Jack. Not you. I named the monkey, Jack.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sierras Crisp Maximus.
Sierras Crisp Maximus. Okay, well, Jack, you're the big winner. I don't know what you win other than bragging rights, but we thank you for the. We thank you for your
noble contribution.
Noble contribution. So, but Allan, let's shift gears. You were on a job site. Is this right? This wasn't your own yard where this happened. But
that is correct.
We posted the picture, so if you go to our Facebook page, you will see this. This was some real handiwork by this creature. So.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, I'd had the complaint that they kept hearing this hammering on the outside of the building.
Oh, Allan, sorry, I didn't give you. I put a pin in that. We're gonna get back, man. It's weird when you're not in the same location, but we're hitting the break. All right,
no problem.
When we come back, we're gonna find out about Allan's animal encounter.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I assure you, Lord Vader, my men are working as fast as they can.
Perhaps I can find new ways to motivate them.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth with darkoakmedia.com, who is on remote today, and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. If you're just tuning in, Allan is over at the Bartlett Animal Center for the annual Vaccine and Chipping Festival. I don't know, Allan, they need branding here, though. We're big believers in branding. Is this a festival? Is this a jamboree? Is this a throwdown? What do you call this?
It's going to be a dog-a-palooza is what it's going to be.
Yeah, talk to Jay, the dog catcher, about his branding operation. Maybe, but we need something slick here, But anyway, it's a great event.
I will say the clouds have parted. Sunshine has arrived.
Excellent.
It was a totally different place than it was an hour ago, I promise you.
Oh, yeah, it was underwater, I'm sure. So, all right, but get over there. It starts at 10. We're going to learn more about that as the program unfolds. In a minute, we're going to find out about the other end of the spectrum in the in terms of animal encounters that Allan had. But before we do that, let's talk about our good buddies, Groundworks. If you have any issues with the foundation of your home, which comes in many varieties, you might have a basement, or you might have a crawl space, or you might have a slab, and you might live on a hill, you might live on a flat surface, you might live at the bottom of a hill. Depending on where your home is, your foundation faces challenges. Every one of all of our foundations need to be healthy, and they need to function properly. And if they're not, then Groundworks is the team that you need. And foundation problems can also manifest themselves in unusual ways. Sometimes the symptoms could come, they're a little unexpected. You might have an odd smell, or you might have these weird stair-step cracks in the bricks outside your home, or even maybe inside your home, or these, an odd crack above a door, or a door that doesn't open and close, or maybe there's ants congregating somewhere. Whatever it is, it's a great idea to get Groundworks involved in this sooner than later. For one thing, this is what they do. This is a national company. This is their expertise. And the inspection is free. So if you suspect you have any issues with your foundation, get Groundworks over there, and they can come over, do a comprehensive appointment, and have a solution for you there on the spot. So get in touch with the good folks at Groundworks. You can go to their website at groundworks.com and book your free inspection today. All right, Allan, so we posted the photo evidence of this. You sent me a picture that I was stunned, sir. I mean, we have these birds in our backyard, but I've never seen wreckage like this. So,
Well, a little bit of a rural setting, so it's not exactly in the dead center of Midtown someplace. It's a little towards the outskirts, but I have been told that they kept hearing tapping or hammering around the building.
mm-hmm.
So upon investigation, I had found some woodpecker damage here and there.
Yeah.
And generally, this is caused by woodpeckers looking for food.
Could you explain that? Because we have these weird dots around our tree. We have woodpeckers. They're not horrible. I mean, they come and go, but there's these lines, and there's holes, but they're almost symmetrical. Like it's like they're working their way around the tree. They might go up or down, or they might go around. But
and that generally means your tree, usually a fruit tree, has some form of bark boring beetles.
Yeah, that's what I was
trying to say that about 4 times.
Sorry, Allan, but you're making me think of something because, as we said, ants, they want wet wood, right? So when you see ants, you have other issues too, right? Because they want
Correct.
moisture. Well, is it true to say then if you have woodpeckers, you might have a tree that's unhealthy?
Yes.
See, that's what I'm afraid because, okay. We have a tree that's kind of close to our house, and we're probably going to have to cut down. But so, okay, I got it. So woodpeckers are a sign of deeper trouble.
They can be, especially if they're focusing on like one tree. In this case, it is one tree in particular. It was an older fruitwood style tree, and it apparently has quite a few boars and a few other critters, and it is really, as you can tell from the picture, they kind of got serious about it.
Well, this is like this looks like an enclosure. Like, I mean, let's just put it out there. We've all, as kids, we grew up watching Woody Woodpecker, and he had his own headquarters. Hey, very good, Max. Hey, he was quick on the draw. But yeah, and I mean, cartoons are one thing, but I mean, I've never seen this much damage. I thought, I've never seen a woodpecker nest or whatever. Is this how they all house themselves?
They will also tunnel into softer or older wood or dead and decaying wood. So if you have a dead tree, you'll often see a pretty fist-sized hole in it where they have very easily gotten in and drilled out and made a nest.
I gotta ask, what is the physiology of a woodpecker to be able to handle driving its head so repetitively back and forth into a piece of wood?
Yeah, we get whiplash or spinal damage. I mean,
if you ever see their little skeleton, you can go online or you can go to a nice science book, and their actual skull is designed like a shock absorber.
Interesting. Oh, so it's not rigid; it's more flexible then.
And it is designed to get in there and hammer away. And because what he's doing is he's pecking away waste wood because he sees, or believes that there is something tasty just a little bit underneath that bark.
Interesting. Now, do woodpeckers just do that like it's almost like I don't know, digging for gold, like a prospector? Do they just start hammering away at your tree in the hopes of finding it, or they pretty much have a sense that there's something under there?
Well, actually, if you watch one bounce around the tree, they're actually very fascinating because you'll see them cocking their heads side to side as they're listening, trying to get kind of a stereoscopic picture of where they hear that little gnawing sound under the bark.
That's interesting. I don't know.
They'll, kind of seize in on it. Now, yesterday at home, I was cleaning out and putting out my hummingbird feeders again, and I had a small female black and white woodpecker, and she appeared and was actually drinking my hummingbird nectar.
Oh boy. Okay, was there a turf war going on?
I don't know about the turf war, but she was getting a lot of good sugary water. So she was just sitting there, just drinking away, having a good time. So
it's like morning coffee. Before you go into the office, you need to recharge your brain. So
she was getting her day started. So,
well,
they're absolutely amazing birds. But if they hear something under your soffit, or especially if they're looking for a new place to nest, they can actually be quite damaging. And you pretty much you learn to love flashing.
Oh, well, because that was my next question is like, okay, if they like softwood and they like bugs, well, let's face it, if you've got water damage, up in the soffit, like behind, if you have gutters that are causing leaks, and that it seems like your home would be a prime target for a woodpecker.
And they can be. So if one of them actually has kind of found a spot that they keep chiseling away at, the best thing to do is, of course, treat it for any type of insect infestation, and put a little piece of flashing over where they're trying to damage it, and that will stop that.
Okay, yeah, because they're not miracle workers. They can't go through metal. So
yeah, they're not that tough yet. So but they're fascinating birds, but they can be a little disruptive if something lets them be.
Okay, so this tree, because folks, I really encourage you to go over to @ToolTalkRadio on Facebook. This is one of the most impressive woodpecker, I don't know if you call it a structure, that I've ever seen. And so I guess what I'm wondering is this tree, is this going to kill the tree, or is this can the tree adapt?
That particular aspect of the tree was already dead.
Okay.
And they were hunting for lunch.
Okay. Well, folks,
so they were just doing what woodpeckers do. It's just that one started on one side and one started on the other, and they met in the middle.
Well, this was an epic project, and so we feel like this woodpecker deserves a nickname. We've taken it upon ourselves to immortalize these creatures around Tool Talk Radio. So if you have a nickname, and don't send in Woody, that's already copyrighted. We don't want that. But if you go to @Tool Talk Radio over on Facebook and check out this, like we said, this damage. And we need a good nickname for this woodpecker. Call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. And, send us something good. We did really good with our electrocuted squirrel. Surely we can come up with something for this noble woodpecker. So, hey, now, Allan, is this going to be a home? Like, do they nest in there, lay eggs and everything, or?
No, that actually is predation. That's where they're looking for food. However, there are several trees on the adjacent property that have got pretty fair-sized woodpecker holes in them. So there are nests in the neighborhood.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the call to action. We need a name for this great woodpecker. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about a repurposing project.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
How tough am I? How tough am I? I had a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, who is on remote this morning. And our buddy Max over there behind the glass, who was a little tardy. I am on right now, right, Max?
You are. I had mic 2 instead of 3.
Okay, whatever. So, it's just another reminder to me, if you're just tuning in, there's always, you were telling me some stuff off the air, Max, so I feel like let me quickly recap. Today, because I think some people just finally got out of bed and are turning on the radio. Today, holiday-wise, today is Lumpy Rug Day. Today's also Free Comic Book Day. Go to your local comic book store and get some free comic books, and there's always sales, and there's always a lot of fun. And it's kind of a party vibe. I know that one of the comic book stores I go to opened at 8 o'clock this morning. Okay, also, we announced our winner for our naming contest from last week, and go ahead, man.
I got to say something kind of funny. Okay. Jack texted in the winner only after the segment. He said, speaking of needing a name for the woodpecker, did you decide on a final name for the crispy squirrel? And he's like, well, duh, we picked you. And he's like, I missed my nanosecond of fame. Just my luck.
Yeah, Jack, that's why you tune in right at 8 o'clock. Well, Jack was the winner with his name Scurious Crisp Maximus for that noble squirrel that basically caused the big electrical event in my neighborhood. So now we were just discussing we need a nickname for this woodpecker that did some epic damage over at a tree on Allan's job site, and we posted the picture. Go to @Tool Talk Radio on Facebook.
We already got one.
Okay, what do you got, Max?
Thank you, Robbie, the Termitinator.
Termitinator. You're going to have to spell that. So, okay, the Termitinator. Because we need a nickname because we want to immortalize this creature. And also, don't send in the name Woody. That's lame, and plus it's already trademarked. So, okay. All right, so I think we're updated, right?
We are. The only thing is maybe to kind of grease the skids a little bit is the woodpecker itself is under the family of Piccadees or Piccaday in terms of their Latin name. So if you're like Jack and like going for the Latin scientific names, something with Piccaday, or the fact that they're also of the family that includes piculets and wrynecks.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right. There's a lot going on. Today's an animal-heavy day. Also, Allan, you're over on location. For those that are just tuning in, at 10 o'clock is the Bartlett Animal Shelter's annual Vaccine and Chipping Festival, or whatever they're calling it, Jamboree. It sounds like people are already getting there.
There are indeed. Like I said, when I got here this morning, it was pretty much dark, foreboding, and a fire hose. And right now I am sitting in a beautiful, beautiful warm breeze with sunshine, and there are already people with their dogs lining up. So,
okay. And
this event actually begins at 10. It's at 5220 Shelter Lane up here in Bartlett. And this is the one day a year that the Bartlett Animal Shelter provides rabies vaccinations and chipping services for your pet.
There you go. And shortly, if things keep going well, and if he can make time, we're going to be talking to Jay, the dog catcher, who's a really just sort of a local hero, quietly doing his work. But we need more people like Jay in this community. I mean, animal, I guess you could say, animal, care is a big deal. And, his team is one of the best. So, and really, Bartlett Animal Shelter, you should check it out anyway. They have a beautiful park there. It's a great place for your dog. We have all these little hidden treasures here in the Memphis area, and it's nice to celebrate them. So, this is a cool event. And if you come out, you get to go say hi to Allan too. So, are you going to stick around after 10?
I will be here for a while. I will indeed.
Okay, cool. All right, well, there you go. So, all right, well, Max, I think we're updated. Now I wanted to shift gears a little bit, and I don't know that this is a tool tale, but Allan, I teased this a few weeks ago, and then we never got to it. But, we're all about repurposing here on Tool Talk Radio. And for folks that have been listening for any number of months, I'm on this massive project that I really am finally almost finished with. And basically what it is I built a room addition for this couple. They have a home in Midtown, and it was built in 1929, so this thing's close to 100 years old. And anyway, I built this dog run, like a dog, like they have a doggy door. And then there's also an area where they have an air conditioning unit. And functionally, it's great, but it's not the best thing to look at from the street. So what we were trying to do is come up with a little privacy fence type thing to disguise this. So basically, we need something about 10 feet out one way and 10 feet another way just to kind of hide what we've got going on. Well, I'm looking around at their yard, and they had this gate. It was an iron gate, and to me, from what I could tell, it looks like it was original to the home. And it's laying there under, like, the grass is growing over it. It's in a corner of the yard, and it's got a little rust and everything. But I said, why can't this be a fence? The type I mean. It's got the wrought iron with the scrolls, and it kind of comes up to a point. It was a two-piece gate. I think I sent you a picture, right, Allan? So
you did.
And I did post a picture a few weeks ago.
Beautiful bit of ironwork. Very, very, very ornate. Very good.
Yeah. So what I did is I did post this picture a few weeks ago back when we were going to discuss it. But for one thing, I thought, okay, well, I don't want to just put this up because it doesn't disguise anything. You could see right through it. And I thought, what if I put a cedar fence and then more or less attach this to it? But then I thought about it and I said, well, I don't want to have this just hanging on a fence. That looks sort of like cheesy as well. So I came up with this idea of almost creating like a shadow box. So the first thing I did is, I wanted to clean up this ironwork and get it looking good. So I basically thought, Allan, if you take the framing of the fence, and there was a way to run the horizontal pieces to kind of disguise them a little bit, where they almost look where you don't see them. I just ran them along the same horizontal areas of the iron fence. And then I hung, basically, the long and short of it is I hung it onto the fence. And then I put the fence boards on the other side of the 2x4 so that they were about 4 inches away from it. And it created a cool kind of shadow box effect. And I've never really seen a fence like this. It was just, I basically took a bunch of junk, and this thing maybe cost $200 to build. It was very satisfying, so it was just it was a cool sense of repurposing, and it was just a neat kind of, now they have this one-of-a-kind fence, and it hides all the ugly stuff that we don't want to look at. So, you know what I mean? It's another satisfying project. So,
well, the great thing about repurposing is it's exactly that. You can just get carried away and have a great time.
And the thing is, there's no risk. It's like, you know what? If we put it up there, they were already, this thing was already basically scrap. And it's like, you know what? If we put it up there and they don't like it, then we just have a cedar fence and we don't. But yeah, this added a neat touch. And these are unique, artistic people anyway. So they appreciated, they don't like to be wasteful. So they appreciated the repurposing angle. But now it's also kind of a centerpiece. And instead of taking, instead of something functional, now it's almost like an art statement. And yet all it's doing is hiding, the ugly stuff that we were trying to hide. I don't know. I'm just thinking of how many other things in our home are actually decorative, but they serve the function of hiding stuff we don't want to look at.
Well, the greatest thing especially when it comes to repurposing anything, is you have nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't spend any money on it, so
it is a harm-free. Let's go find out.
There we go. So get out there and repurpose, folks. So, well, hour 1 of Tool Talk Radio is in the can, and things are heating up over at the Bartlett Animal Shelter. So when we come back, among other things, we're going to be talking to Jay the dog catcher.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
All right, there we go again. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, who is on assignment this morning, and the tardy Max over there behind the glass.
It's confusing not having Allan on mic, too.
Okay, yeah, you keep turning on the wrong mic. So anyway, Allan, as you can hear, is on site. Allan, it sounds like things are heating up over at the Bartlett Animal Shelter.
It's getting a little fuzzy.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, normally you and I would both be over there on location. This is their annual vaccine and chipping event. It starts at 10 o'clock. It's great. I can hear the hounds lining up for their vaccine and their chips. But this is a cool event, and the weather's cooperating, right? I mean, you got there, it was raining, but now it's clearing up. So
it is absolutely gorgeous out here. The temperature is amazing, and as you can hear, there are quite a few lovely little pooches lining up to get their rabies vaccination and be chipped if so desired, or if they need to be. I will say a quick word about maintaining your vaccinations. Rabies is an absolutely terrible disease, and it really needs to be eradicated. So making sure your pets are appropriately vaccinated is wonderful. And chipping, We never want to think one of our little fur babies is going to get away from us, but accidents do happen, and chipping makes it so much easier for them to be properly returned.
Oh yeah, I mean to me it's a no-brainer because it's small and they don't notice it, and yet you can track them down if they run off. So it's interesting. You know why, Alan? Because today is also National Lumpy Rug Day, which, as Max pointed out, it's not just a situation of addressing these rugs that pinch up, or maybe they're unfurling and they have lumps in them. Sometimes lumps are caused by problems that we sweep under the rug, and so if one of those problems is that you haven't vaccinated your dogs or your cats, this is the day to do it. So you're killing two birds in one stone. And also, I guess this is a good time to remind everybody of the importance of, for one thing, tuning into Tool Talk Radio right at 8 o'clock, right, Max? Didn't you get a text along those lines? So
exactly, with regards to who won the naming thing, the winner wasn't listening.
Okay, well, tell us what he said. So.
Well, he was saying, now every radio in the house is set to blast Tool Talk at 8 a.m. Saturday. So thank you for Jack for listening for us.
Yeah, Jack was our big winner of the naming contest from the electrocuted squirrel. And his name that we chose was Scarius Crisp Maximus. And he missed his big moment of fame, Alan. He wasn't tuning in. So, but if anybody misses something, there's no need to fear, right? I mean, they can hear past episodes.
All they have to do is pop over to either Spotify, YouTube, or any place that better podcasts are delivered. And they can also go to tooltalkradio.com.
Okay, there you go. So, okay. Well, I hope shortly we're going to be talking to Jay the dog catcher over there all about today's event. But before we get to that, let's find out what Allan did this week.
Oh, the humanity.
Who's this loudmouth dog you have in the background, Alan?
He's providing the sound effects for us today.
Yeah, I mean, talk about ambiance. But, okay, well, Alan, you sent pictures, and, it looks like you had another pretty productive week. So
I did. I got to work with a product I had heard about in the past, but had never, I hadn't done a lot of tiling. And now, of course, the tiling theme has taken over my life.
Mm-hmm.
And there is now what is called an isolation layer or a divorce layer. And what this is it is for houses that have crawl spaces, basements, especially older facilities. And with this, it is designed to help isolate the tile from moisture, expansion, vibration, motion of the house itself. So basically what it is a semi-rigid plastic layer. One side is textured to adhere easily to thin set. The other side has these little cup-like indentations to make it easy for the tile to adhere to it.
Gotcha.
So basically you're adding a layer. And I will freely admit I was about 60-40 on whether or not I wanted to use this product. But, we wanted to try it anyway because the home we're putting it in does have a basement and a crawl space.
Okay.
And it's a much older home, so it's kind of like, all right, if there was any place this stuff is going to prove its worth, this is the great experiment. So it goes down fairly easily. It's you rub thin set all over your prepared floor or your prepared subfloor, and on and in it goes and down it goes. And I will say this: it went down easily. It stuck easily. The next day, after it had a chance to cure, it remained in place. And then over the next 2 days when we were tiling, it tiled fairly easily. I will say this, you don't want to be kneeling on that stuff for very long without some knee pads.
Oh,
really? Rough on the
so
knees.
Because to me it looks like it was cushioned somewhat, but okay.
It's a lot more rigid than it looks.
Okay,
of.
I got a question about it because it's okay, and I know there's flooring guys out there. They probably use this all the time, but I personally don't do much flooring, and I've never used this product, so I want to learn. But you said you glued it down. Well, whenever I think of something like that, I'm picturing air bubbles or something, or
You just use
lumps.
thin set. It's
So
not a glue; it's thin set. You just put a layer of thin set down and put that baby down like it was a giant tile.
So you're not like rolling this. This isn't a rolled.
Well, it comes in a roll, but it flattens out really easily.
Okay, it sounds interesting because I'm picturing almost like the texture of like a yoga mat or something like that. But you're saying it's much more rigid. So
it is much less comfortable than a yoga mat. I promise you.
Now, here's my question though: if you're putting it down, because I did see where you had. Obviously, you don't just put one giant piece down and cut around it. You're probably putting a couple where you got to join the pieces together. What do you use to join them together? Is it tape or is it
just the thin set?
So that fills in the seams and everything.
Yeah, you just kind of filled in that seam and kept right on working. You do what you got to do, and the fun part is you're going to thin set over the top of it also. So as you're putting in your tile, any minor small gaps or anything are automatically covered.
Okay, gotcha. So
when I actually get out of here today, I'm going to go back out to that job site and see how our tile has adhered and cured. And I will give it this: the floor had a particular feel before I put the isolation layer down. And it definitely felt firmer and tighter with that layer installed.
do you notice any kind of cushioning when you're walking, or is it not really a cushioning effect? Because
it's not a cushioning effect. It's not like an underlayment for a hardwood floor, which is actually going to help soften the hardwood floor a little bit. This was designed to protect your tile from the expansion and shifting of a very mobile structure, aka a house that is built up over a crawl space or a basement.
Okay, gotcha.
Because a slab house, the house itself moves, and the slab really doesn't expand or contract as rapidly as an elevated floor with airspace underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, in the floors, a crawl space or a second story or something like that's going to be flexible anyway. So, I mean, you have to build that into your design. So
yeah. So I will freely admit this is basically the first time I've used this product.
Okay.
And there are 2 or 3 different brands out there, but they are all the higher end, better brands.
Well, folks, if you're out there, especially our flooring guys, if you've used this and you've had success, or if you have any warning tales, let us know, because I'm always happy to learn, and I suspect there'll be a project down the road that I'll be faced with the decision of using this layer or not. So, but so far,
I have a spa going in a couple of weeks, and this small bathroom is the evaluation for much larger projects.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Because if this really does everything as advertised, I'm going to be pretty excited about it.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, so overall, a pretty positive experience, except for this woodpecker that devastated the customer's tree, right? So.
Well, and we did have to put a flashing layer up to keep it from drilling to the house.
Okay. All right. Hey, Allan, is Jay on tap, or what do we
Not yet.
All right. Well, we're going to keep winging it here when we come back on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Do not get covered in the repulsion gel. We haven't entirely nailed down what element it is yet, but I'll tell you this, it's a lively one, and it does not like the human skeleton.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, in studio with Max over there behind the glass. And on location, our good buddy Allan Gilbreth with darkoakmedia.com, who, oh, there we go, Max. He is at the annual, he's at the Bartlett Animal Shelter for their annual vaccine and chipping festival that they got going on. And I like this music, Max. Let it roll, man.
It's called Dog Boogie.
And Allan, we can hear the ruckus over there, man.
We have Dog Boogie going on.
Yeah.
They are getting ready to begin.
Yeah.
I see the tables are getting set up, and the volunteers and everybody that is going to be taking care of this are all getting their instructions and their tables and everything squared away. So the event today is all about your rabies vaccination and getting your pet chipped. So in the event the little darling gets away from you and somebody else finds it, they can bring it back home to you.
Now, when we've done this in the past, people make a whole morning out of this, because we should say literally right there, 50 feet from where you're broadcasting, there's a really nice dog park. And in fact, last year, the Bartlett Sheriff's Department had their trained German Shepherds and everybody doing demonstrations and running obstacle courses and things like that. Is there any of that today, or did the mud did the rain?
I think the rain put a little bit of a kibosh on that, but the dog park itself, a few folks are actually enjoying it.
Okay.
It is a little damp on the backside, but like I said, the weather has definitely turned to the better. We've got a beautiful breeze, we've got lots of sunshine, and I have got lots of dogs lining up.
Okay, cool. Who's the loudest one over there? Because there was some big mastiff there last time I was there that just stole the show and drowned everybody out. But who's hogging the spotlight right now?
This one looks like a couple of good mixed breeds are having a lively conversation with each other.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, hey, Max, I thought we had a couple texts we got to get caught up on too before we keep continuing along. So. Who do we have?
Mostly one, actually. Brew Blaster actually responded in some terms to something outside of the show in response to my daily deviation about the Toland man.
Oh, okay.
And he said they should have just called him Pete.
Because he's found in the peat moss. Peat bog. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's
and I
pretty
might
good.
have ruined Brew Blaster's breakfast because I sent him what the Toland man looks like.
Oh, yeah. Be careful if you Google that. So, and what is and we did say we're still looking for a name for this epic woodpecker construction that we saw that basically destroyed a tree over on Allan's job site. What was the submission that Robbie put in?
Termitinator.
Okay, Termitinator. That's a tricky one. That's a tongue twister. But all right, if you can beat that, send in your submission to call or text us at 901 at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989.
I'm looking at you, Deuce.
Yeah. Well, okay. Hey, Allan, I was thinking about something on the way in, and sometimes it's how there's these things in our life that are super easy to take for granted, and we don't think about them until we don't have them, or till maybe you visit a place that doesn't have this. But on the way in, it was raining pretty hard, but I felt especially grateful for the fact that we live in a modern civilization and we have infrastructure. I was looking at all the water, that was coming down, but you know what? It was going somewhere. It had a direction. It was in the street, but it was also washing to the side. And I don't know. It just made me appreciate building codes and infrastructure, and the fact that this is something we didn't have even not that long ago, right? I mean, if you go back in history.
Drainage? Not that long ago in history, the Walter Reed Hospital studying mosquito diseases wasn't located in, some foreign land. It was located in Memphis.
Right.
Because Memphis has been the home of a few yellow fever outbreaks in the past history. So one thing Memphis does fairly well is drain the city.
Yeah.
We actually have got a pretty good history of early on adapting to the idea that when we get water, we can get a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
And the storm drain system is very important, which is why MLG&W just a few weeks ago sent out a big flyer that said nothing but rain down your storm drain.
Right. Yeah.
Because the big thing is when we get hit, like this morning, we did get hit with a rather intense thunderstorm, and we got a quite, when you think about the volume of water that falls on just the average 3,000 square foot home.
Right.
So you got a 1,500, 1,600, 2,000 square foot roof. And if you think about the amount of water rushing off of that, just that little small area, that is, it's gallons and gallons and gallons of water. And then you look at like a big parking lot, and that is thousands of gallons of water.
Right.
Then you begin adding in your neighborhood, your street, your backyard. And the fact that Memphis, we can get a huge amount of rain, we can have water all over the streets, and an hour later, there's some isolated puddles.
Yeah. And that goes to planning and stuff. And we've even talked about in the past, like, if somebody wants to build homes or a home or even just some, structure in their yard, we've talked about every construction redirects the water flow. And, you may not want that building inspector coming over and, going over everything with a fine-tooth comb. But trust me, those building codes are there for a reason. We need that.
You really do want the inspections. You really do want to meet the standards because of, as we have always said, water, we can't live without it. But when it comes to fixing, repair, DIY, and your home, water is the enemy. And improperly installed landscaping can cause tens of thousands of dollars in damage. Not immediately, but slowly over a few years, it can really cause a lot of problems.
Yep. So it just occurred to me because sometimes it's easy to just think about, things that are going wrong, but just how many things right under our feet and just every day quietly are going right. And so I don't know. It just made me appreciate that this morning. So
it also kind of makes me think of in terms of going back to that one thing that we discussed a while ago. It's what is nature doing wrong, right, that we're doing wrong. And it's like I'm thinking that nature is able to absorb all this water and like really recycle it in an efficient manner, whether it comes to like making like subsurface water or whatever. It's just like how could the earth like sustain itself after like constantly like experiencing flood after flood or like snow and stuff like that? It's like so resilient even though it seems so soft.
That's a big recycle. The earth is a giant recycling machine, basically, it seems like. So, but
well, Max, to make it even more amazing for you is you have to think about Memphis, then you have to move east about 30 to 60 miles. And 30 to 60 miles away is the beginning of the sands that actually flow under Memphis about 2,000 feet down. And the big rainstorm that hit Memphis, as it moved east, it got over a couple of counties away, and that water basically gets sucked into the ground. And I have to say, a huge herd of deer has now decided to join the dog park.
That was a weird left turn you just took. You didn't even finish
well,
your
I
sentence.
didn't expect 3 big deer to come walking down the middle of the park right there.
Now, what is that interaction like? Allan, what are the dogs doing with these
They
deer?
are standing there in stunned disbelief.
I don't want to sound like an idiot, but do dogs would a dog mistake a deer for another dog, or are they pretty...
No. No.
Okay.
But since we're on the topic, and deer do live in the urban environment,
yeah,
please, for heaven's sake, protect your dog from deer.
Really? They'll go
deer
after them?
Are aggressive. People do not realize this. Everybody thinks deer are some kind of Disney happy animal.
So Bambi's mom had it coming.
Man, oof.
Put a pin in that, Allan. I gotta straighten Max out. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Dying tickles.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com, who is on location today, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And it's a perfect day to go to @Tool Talk Radio and check out the post we've made over there, because there's some highly relevant content on there. And Allan, the situation is escalating. It sounds like you're over there at the Bartlett Animal Shelter for the annual vaccine and chipping event that they do. I really think they need some good branding, though. I don't know that there's a flashy name for this. This is just basically the once a year event where you get, chipped and vaccinated. And now you said deer have entered the situation. Is that right? Is there a turf war going on now?
No. Well, they came out, took one look, and made a hard exit stage left.
Okay. All right.
But that did bring up a quick word about local critters, because of let me throw in a couple of words about possums, raccoons, and deer, and coyotes, which we have plenty of in Shelby County. I know people think deer look adorable and cute. A quick word to the wise. Deer grew up or evolved around the idea of mountain lions, coyotes, and wolves. A deer is perfectly capable of doing very bad things to your dog.
Really? I just didn't know that they had that fighting instinct. So
they can be absolutely vicious.
Wow.
And this is just one of these things where I know, you might think your dog's a boss, and he can, nature can provide a bigger boss on occasion. So, really, dog and deer encounters, I highly advocate that you avoid them at every opportunity. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know, because we do have deer in this area. So.
We also have raccoons. Raccoons are cute, fuzzy little bear-like creatures that, if they ever figure out bus tokens, I have a feeling they will take over the city.
Yeah.
Raccoons are incredibly intelligent and amazingly destructive. They will pull a hole in your roof. Them and squirrels. They do some property damage.
Oh yeah.
And I say all that to bring us to possums, and possums basically don't bug anybody, and are sweet, wonderful little critters that eat ticks and all kinds of other miscellaneous nonsense.
And they're slow, so if you have
leave the possums alone.
Yeah.
I was about to say, are they like neutral territory like Switzerland?
Yeah, the possums, they're just kind of cute and wonderful. Armadillos, yes, they will dig up your yard because they are an insectivore, and they are looking to eat everything they can get their hands on.
Okay. Well, it's been a pretty critter-heavy conversation today. And,
it has.
And
However, I've got another critter standing here with me.
Yeah.
You have.
Oh, do we finally got him on? Okay.
You have the critter.
I have the big critter. Man, good to see you today.
Good to see you, man. Thank you for being on here.
Announce yourself. Who are you and why are you interested?
Jay the dog catcher.
There you go.
Finally, we got Jay on site. Well,
yeah,
Jay,
I decided to get out of bed and show up.
We're glad to have you, because you're a tough. I mean, this is your day, right? Is this your Super Bowl?
That's a good way to put it. Yes, this is our Super Bowl today. We do it every year, the annual rabies and microchip drive. We open it up to anybody. It's not just for Bartlett residents. And we have a very, very, very good line already. This is bigger than what we had last year, I believe, right here off the start. So the rain stopped. The weather's beautiful. The deer already came by. I heard you talking on my way here. we have a family of deer that lives in the woods back here behind the shelter, and every now and then they'll come out and say hi to us.
They walked up, took one look at the line, and went
and turned
deuces.
around and said, "Yeah, no, I'm going the other way." Yeah.
Hard pass.
It's normally not this crazy for the family of deer. They normally just kind of come on through and mosey on. But yeah, man, it's a beautiful day, and what we're doing is offering low-cost rabies and microchip. And this year, because recently we've had seen a uptick in the cases of distemper.
Oh no!
And I know us, and then over there at Memphis Animal Services, they have too. So this year we are actually up in the ante, and we're offering low-cost distemper parvo as well. So
perfect. And the thing about it, Jay, too, is there's this whole kind of idea of know your neighborhood and really get to know your town. And it's like, I feel like you guys are sort of a hidden gem over there. You're not on a busy road, so it's easy to miss the Bartlett Animal Shelter. But man, you got a great facility, and of course that park is really cool. I mean,
yeah, we're back here. We're tucked back here. It used to be the middle of nowhere. Now they have developed a little bit, so we are back in the back of the neighborhood now. When they built the shelter, there was no neighborhood up in front of us. But yeah, we do have a beautiful park. It is open to the public. It's an off-leash dog park. We've got all kinds of toys and jungle gyms for the dogs, and got little pools out there for when it turns a little bit warmer. I think it's a little chilly today, but we've got a couple little dog pools, and so yeah, it's open to the public all the time.
Pretty cool, man. So, and you said low cost. So, I mean, because some people might be thinking, I might want to come out and get in on this. But can you give us some pricing so people can plan?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually talked to a lady yesterday, and she had a vet appointment scheduled for later this week. And when I told her about it, she said, "Oh, I'm canceling it right now. I'll see you." And I actually saw her as I was pulling in. So we're doing the rabies is $16 if they're spayed or neutered. If they're still intact, it's $26, but that's still much cheaper than you could go to a vet's office. The microchipping is only $20, and the distemper parvo vaccine is only $20 as well. So I mean, you could technically get in and out of here for less than $50-$60.
Oh wow, this is a no-brainer, man. This is yeah. So okay. Well, and the other thing too, like I said, is getting to know your neighborhood. You might not even be aware of what the Bartlett Animal Center offers and the rest of what you've got going on over there at the park. So it's just a good day all around to discover that, because you may want to visit in the future. So
well, most definitely, and we also, I mean, we are open, of course, for adoptions. We do have plenty of dogs and cats in there that are looking for a good home. So, even if you don't already own one, but are thinking about, hey, I think I might want a dog, then just come on up, say hi, introduce yourself. Like you said, get to know your neighbors.
I got a question too. How do people help? How do they support the Bartlett Animal Shelter? Because you guys really do good work. And Jay, you're very humble. But you're out there doing good work in the community. And how do people back you up, man? So,
well, I mean, they can just. They can come in anytime, make donations and stuff. Of course, we do work off of donations. They can check us out on Facebook, City of Bartlett Animal Shelter, and we do have a list of needs: dog food, puppy food, cat food. Those are the basics, litter, and then also like cleaning supplies, things of that nature. So I mean, yeah, if they just want to, if you're in a position where you don't need another animal. Or you just can't handle animals or whatever, but you still want to help because you love animals, because everybody does, then yeah, you can just always come by, say hi, look at the animals. I mean, that's another thing is they can volunteer. You can volunteer your time. Come out here. If you're in a situation where maybe you can't have a dog where you live or whatever, but you still enjoy that companionship, you can come out, volunteer, spend some time with some of our animals, dogs and cats. You can do all that stuff. And we're open 6 days a week. We're closed on Sundays.
Oh, perfect. So, hey, what's the address? I know, Allan, you've given it out a few times, but we got people just tuning in. So
it's 5220 Shelter Run Lane in Bartlett. We're on the north side of Bartlett off of Old Brownsville. And the number is it's 901-385-6484.
Yeah.
If you get lost, because sometimes GPS will draw. You know the street right here. It's kind of like a little back alley street that runs right into the shelter. But sometimes GPS. It'll stop you right there halfway in the middle of the street and say, okay, you've reached your destination. People call us all the time and go, I don't know where I'm at.
Just a little further,
Yeah.
a little around
that's
that bend,
what we
and
tell
there
them.
you
We go, just keep coming down the street that you're on. You're going to come up to a four-way stop. Go through the four-way stop. You're going to see the dog parks right there.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Jay, because I was thinking of that episode of The Office where the GPS makes Michael drive into a lake, and it's like I kind of felt that way the first time I went out there. It's like, okay, this looks like I'm going to somebody's, the backyard or whatever, but just keep going. It'll get you there. But yeah.
Yeah, it opens up to the beautiful dog parks here, and then you'll see us.
Okay.
Or, at this point, though, you can kind of just keep driving till you see all the cars and all the dogs.
Yeah,
go,
and just listen.
Go till you hear the dogs barking, and then you'll know you're close.
I was going to say, just roll your window down and follow the barks. Okay. So what's the rest of your day looking like, man? Sounds like you got your hands full.
Looking like it's going to be a very busy day, so that's a good thing.
Okay. All right. So do you administer the shots too, or are you just there as sort of the ringleader?
I'm just here as the pretty face.
Okay.
No. We actually have a licensed vet, Dr. Ledberry, will be here momentarily, and he's the one that administers everything.
Okay. All right. Well, Allan, I'm sorry, I've been dominating the conversation, but.
Oh, it's quite all right. Like I said, it is. We started out a little rough. The weather has definitely improved. It's a beautiful temperature, got a nice breeze. Looking at some white fluffy clouds, blue skies, and a whole lot of people with a whole lot of pets.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm very excited because, again, I want to reiterate, always, rabies inoculations. Rabies is a truly terrible disease. And Memphis is really blessed. This particular part of Tennessee, we don't get hit with rabies much, and that is in part due to a lot of people really keeping up with their vaccinations.
Being responsible. Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
Jay, before we hit the break, real quick, is this for cats too, or are there other animals on the table that can get chipped and vaccinated?
Most definitely. Yeah, you can bring your cats in as well.
All right. What about your
Yes.
possum?
If you have a pet possum, I don't advise bringing it up here.
Probably go poorly.
I don't think you're supposed to have those as pets in the state of Tennessee.
It's kind of regulated.
So please if you have a pet possum, please do not bring it up here.
Yeah.
Gerbils, snakes, everybody. Okay, let's just keep this at cats and
I
dogs.
was about to say, if you bring a snake up here, I'm gone. I'm out.
All right. Hey, Jay, good talking to you, man. We're hitting the break.
Hey, good talking to you. Thank you guys for what you do, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks for the work you do, buddy.
Thank you, man.
You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Oh, look, John, it's red pine. They were going to put flecked linoleum over this beautifully preserved knotty red pine. Most people in this world, John, are
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorgerson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our buddy Max over there behind the glass, who has really been spot on with your rejoiners today, Max. I appreciate that. Pretty apropos and entertaining. We have a lot to get to, Allan. We just talked to Jay, the dog catcher, and we have some new things to get to, as well as some people on the text line. But before we do that, we have another Jay that we need to discuss. Max. Oh, okay, there you go. So our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. So this is your new walk-up music, Max?
It's called Sad Room. It says sad theme, piano and strings.
This is not appropriate. So if you're wondering what this is all about, folks, Jay Hill has never been satisfied with his walk-up music, and for the weeks we've been trying to find some appropriate walk-up music for Jay, and this was a big swing and a miss.
Maybe Dog Boogie's better.
Yeah, I don't think Jay's going to vote for this one, but we'll keep searching. But if you have any roofing, Jay is all about the exterior protection of your home. So if you have any roofing, needs, or for gutters or siding or windows, or all interior remodeling except kitchens and bathrooms. Jay doesn't want any part of that. He wants to, he wants to leave that to the kitchen remodelers. But Jay is all about the exterior protection of your home and all interior remodeling. And we always lean heavily into his roofing expertise because, well, for one thing, especially on a day like today, Jay is always 5 stars with the Better Business Bureau. He is a GAF Master Elite Installer. And these are roofing systems that they put in. And these systems are so effective and so well engineered that they offer lifetime transferable warranties. And Jay is also one of the highest rated roofers in this entire region. So he knows all about protecting your home. And I mean, think about the challenging nature of being a roofer in this area with the swings and the weather we get, with all of the challenges between critters trying to get in your home, and it's a big challenge. And also when it comes to gutters and siding and windows, these are systems that all have to work harmoniously, and so you need somebody with the expertise of Jay Hill. What also sets Jay Hill apart is the fact that he is a former insurance agent. And so if you have damage to the outside of your home that may be covered by your homeowner's insurance, that is a tricky process to navigate, and you actually really need an advocate in your corner. And Jay Hill, so if you suspect you have any damage, Jay Hill should be the first person you call. He's going to come out, they're going to analyze the situation, and if there is a path forward with making a claim in your homeowner's insurance, he'll have those answers for you, and it's a pretty exciting prospect because it's going to save you a lot of money. But also, Jay just brings a great optimism and energy to every project, and he likes to deal directly with you, which is why he wants you to contact him directly. So get in touch with our good buddy Jay Hill. You can call him at 901-484-5645 or go to BigMRoofingAndRemodeling.com. All right, Allan, we got a few things to wrap up here. We're getting some submissions. I should say, if you just to get everybody updated, if you're just tuning in, we have a naming contest out there. There was a woodpecker that basically did some of the most impressive drilling I've ever seen in a tree, and we want to immortalize this creature with a nickname, and people have been chiming in on that, right, Max? So. Okay.
All right, so
what if Robbie had the termitinator?
The termitinator.
Okay,
yes.
so we got some more names.
Yes. So first, let's get to Brew Blaster.
Okay.
Brew Blaster said, "I've dubbed the woodpecker Robbie Rubberneck."
Now, does he know Robbie, or does he have a? That's interesting. Robbie the Rubberneck. Okay.
Well, just I guess because it flows good.
All right.
The most submissions we got, though, is from Jack, which is good because he's got a reputation to uphold.
Okay.
So Jack says he's kind of stuck, but all he's got is Pickety Peckerton or Bark-O-Drama, no offense.
Wait, I like that. Bark-O-Drama?
Instead of Barack Obama.
Oh, I thought it was something to do with drama, like the drama of the okay, that's not bad. That's
and this one's
good.
pretty good. Beaky Grinders. Instead of Peaky Blinders.
Okay. These are pretty good. I don't know, Allan. Do you have an opinion here?
I'm going to wait and see what all comes in. I will get some more pictures of some of the woodpecker's other artistic endeavors.
Okay, maybe we'll keep it rolling too. It's a little, the other thing too is you're on site. You've got dogs. And didn't the deer just show back up again over there?
Oh yeah, they went trotting back across again, just in case the dogs weren't worked up enough.
Yeah, and if you just turn the radio on and you're wondering what Allan is all he's doing, he's over at the Bartlett Animal Shelter for their annual vaccine and chipping festival that's going on starting at 10 o'clock.
Speaking of it, regarding that, we actually got a text from Danny asking how long are the services for today at the Bartlett Animal Shelter?
Yeah. How long?
Generally runs from 10 till 2.
Okay. Yeah, about a 4 hour.
But they have a limited number of vaccinations available. However, the tents are open. People are checking in. People are moving through the process. Jay is over there kind of supervising, so the process has begun.
Okay, and like we say, check out their beautiful park. It's right there. It's a dog park, but I suspect, I guess, I don't know what other animals are allowed in there. I mean, if you have a pet monkey, can you bring it? If you have a
well, I know that today they are focusing strictly on dogs and cats.
Okay.
So I believe if your dog or cat needs a rabies vaccination, they're also offering parvo vaccinations.
What is parvo?
Parvo is it's I'm trying to remember exactly how it affects the animals, but parvo is another very devastating disease that can affect your pets.
Okay, it's not good, whatever it is. So.
Yeah, it's not as it's not human communicable like rabies, but you certainly don't want your pet to get it.
Okay, all right. So it's all good stuff, and plus, like we say, it's a good opportunity to see what they, just to check out the park, see what services they offer, and maybe you want to volunteer and get involved with helping them because this is another one of these things. Somebody has to do this work. It's hugely important to help with the health and safety of your pets, and also, I mean, the helping manage the pet population in the Memphis area. So, Jay is a good dude, and the whole team over there should really be commended, man. They're awesome.
They're doing a magnificent job already. So, and again, like I said, the weather decided to cooperate. We've got some nice skies, good weather, not a bad day to come out.
Awesome. All right, well, Allan, there's the music. The time is up, man. So thanks for the remote broadcast this morning, but we got to get out of here. So on behalf of my buddy, Allan Gilbreth, and our pal Max over there behind the glass, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening to Tool Talk Radio, and we'll see you next week.